friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. Today I'm at the counter and I am making coffee liners from big coffee liners. I did a video on that before, and I just take my coaster is the perfect size. I put it in the middle. I take a chopstick. I copy through the line. I'll do that right now. I just take the chopstick and kind of indent a line. And then I take clean scissors and I just cut away. And I do it in mulch. I don't know how many are in here. I just know how much, what thickness it is that'll make it worth cutting through and not cause pain. So I've been working on this, and then I thought, you know, while I'm standing here working on these, I'm going to just come on and talk a little bit and get caught up on stuff. So I just put a few more in here and good to go. Why am I doing that? Because I was buying those individual liners for the Kura Cubs, and it was like they were getting more and more expensive. Get 200 for, I think it's like $8 or $9. It's up to $10 maybe right now. I think that's ridiculous. So I buy these. This bag is $500. I don't spend $10 on this. I think it was like $8 yesterday, maybe less. And that's quite a huge difference. So it takes me time to do this. You know what I do? I do this when I'm in the middle of listening to something or whatever. It keeps me busy. I'm one of those people that like to keep busy. So that's what I'm doing over here. But today, or actually this month, is there's a few things going on. Today is like May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Today is also National Day of Prayer. I hope that you are lifting others up. I hope that even for your own needs, lift yourself up, because God wants to hear from you. It is also National Firefighters Day as well. They're trying to recognize them because, you know what? They're the ones who run into the burning fire. It's National Nurses Week, so National Nursing Appreciation Week. Tomorrow's the official day. I hope that you've taken time to thank a nurse that has treated you really well. And, you know, and it's also the month of May is National Lyme Disease Awareness Month. I got my shirt on. Now, I will be talking about Lyme disease this month, more than you probably care to know, because it has impacted my life in both a negative and a positive way. And I'm not too thrilled that I had to endure it. I didn't like the experience. There were times I cried. There were times I was in severe pain. And then you feel forgotten, even by your physicians. And I'm not talking about my Lyme disease specialist, because once he realized what was going on, he was there for me. And then there was another specialist when I told him, I said, this could be part of my problem that we're working on. And he goes, so many people have it. He goes, but I don't think it's what we're working on. So, but he understood how Lyme disease impacted the lives of many. And sometimes, you know, you get it taken care of and you're fine, but not always. And as we deal with people who have had the virus and the treatment, there's a lot of side effects there. Some are long-term and some are not. And I think a lot of times with any disease, part of how this affects our body is partially our responsibility. We need to be eating healthy. Food is medicine, folks. But also, we need to be able to, our bodies are different. A lot of times they'll say that African Americans versus white women will, you know, they have the chances of cancer or something is greater in them than the other. So you stop and think, like, what is the makeup of their body that causes that? I don't know, and I'm not a scientist nor a physician, radiologist, or any of that. So I think about this stuff a lot, because it's like, why does this affect some people more than others? Why did Lyme disease affect me the way that it had? I'm not complaining. Did I complain before when I was finally diagnosed? Absolutely. You know why? Because I was suffering with a lot of symptoms from like 2006, 2008. And then I went to the doctor and I said, hey, I'm doing this. And it was while I was doing some medical studies and my surgical tech studies. And I would go to her after classes and I would just say, I don't understand. And she would do tests and they would say this and they would do that. They couldn't find an answer. Folks, one thing that I want you to do is always fight for you. Be an advocate for yourself. If you can't get the answers, even though your doctor is awesome, sometimes they don't know because they don't understand, or there could be other things going on, okay? If you do, I'm going to just point out one tip. When you're out hiking, outside in the yard, raking, doing all kinds of things outside, and sometimes even in the house, make sure you have a lint roller. We have lint rollers in both vehicles, and I have it in the house. The reason is a good lint roller will pull your hair, and it will take off not only lint, but it will also take ticks off your clothes. Will it take a tick that's inside you, kind of snuggling in? No, it won't. But there are tools for that, and we'll go into that on another video. But, National Day of Prayer, we are lifting others up. It's okay to lift yourself up as well. So I'm going to ask you to lift up the people with Lyme disease, people who are still suffering from the virus, people who are not doing well, but also lift up the good things that are going on in this world. Despite all the crap that's out there, there are good things going on. I'm going to read a scripture for you. Well, for me, maybe. It's in Matthew chapter 25, verse 40. And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, you have done it unto me. What does that mean? Well, not to say woe is me, because I'm doing fine. When I was at the worst of my Lyme disease, people didn't understand it. I get that. But, to be disregarded in a healthcare facility was like, it was hard. I'm not saying the practitioner did not believe that I was having the issues. What I'm saying is she couldn't understand because the test didn't show what she was hoping to find. And yet the test that actually proved that it was CDC Lyme disease, she wouldn't believe it. So you start feeling rejected while you're dealing with all the symptoms that take your life away. Now, no, I'm alive. I am doing great. And I have bad days. But it takes your life away because all of a sudden your activity is on hold. It's on hold and you can't function. I couldn't sew for a couple of years because I physically couldn't sit at the sewing machine or stand at it. I couldn't do it and I was in so much pain. And there was a variety of other things. And when somebody is not doing well and people are not reaching out to them, whether it's a phone call, I'm not talking about a Facebook, hey, how are ya? I'm talking about a phone call so that they know that you care. Now, do these little Facebook things help? Yeah, they do. But not to the degree of somebody calling somebody up and talking to them. You'd be amazed at what, if you knew of somebody who was depressed, you picked up that phone and say, hey, how you doing? Just start talking about silly things. If they don't want to talk, start talking about some silly things to make them laugh, or ask them some different questions to make them feel like they're going to be heard and to be loved. Now, I want to go on to something else because of the situation with the water. With the thing coming into my yard from my neighbor's house. Well, yesterday I took a final picture of the situation. And what I did was I leaned over my husband got me a ladder and I'm over there taking a picture, and my husband's saying, what are you doing? I said, I need record of what's going on. Just because somebody is nice and forgiving and kind does not mean that they're going to stand back and take the abuse of somebody doing something physically against your property or your body or whatever. You need to stand up and fight for it. Well, I did not know this, but it didn't surprise me because I told David, I think there's some cameras up there. And I'm not sure, but that's my gut feeling. Anyways, so around, I think it's like, 3 o'clock now. Around this time yesterday, around 3 o'clock, 3:30, my doorbell rang. And at this point, everything that I expected to come in was here, the mail, all that kind of stuff. And so I was just gotten into my frumpy clothes and just kind of like whatever. And he came to the door, and now I'm still ticked at him, okay? And I said, "What do you want?" And he goes, "Well, you know, I noticed that you were taking pictures today over on my property." I said, "That's right." And I didn't deny it. And you know what? You can ask me anything and I'll be truthful. So he says, "Well, you know, I don't understand why you're doing that." I said, "You don't." I said, "I talked to you about the situation on Saturday and I asked you to not have that, you know, right near the fence where it would come into my property." And he said to me, he goes, "Laura, everybody is getting water. There's 4 to 5 inches of water out there." I said, "I'm not complaining about what God is doing. I'm complaining about what you did on a part of our property that is higher elevated and never gets the amount of water like we do in the backyard." He says, "But you don't understand." I said, "No, I don't think you understand." I said, "What you did was wrong." He goes, "I didn't mean to do anything." He goes, "Let me go take a look at it." I said, "You are not permitted on my property. As a matter of fact, this conversation shouldn't be happening because my husband asked me not to talk to you." And he just stepped back and he started saying some other things. I said, "You get off my property." He was surprised at how I treated him yesterday. And I used some language that is not my normal language. And I think that surprised him a little bit more, but it shouldn't because he's always talking like that. But anyways, what I wanted to share is what he did to me is how he treats God. Okay, I don't know if he's a Christian. I don't think he is. How do I know that? I don't. I really don't. Because even Christian people can do this kind of thing. We're all not innocent people because we have the title Christian. I never claim to be perfect. But I do claim to say that he is my Lord, and I do claim to say I try every day. Now, he was trying to turn this thing, and this is where some of the things I've been learning about as I heal from a variety of things, the triggers over the last 3-4 years right now. We're in 2023. When did this start? Anyways, so I have been doing a lot of studying. I've been kind of like soul searching. What have I done? What can I do? And as I have, I've become happier and happier and happier. And my husband says, "You've never been this happy." Well, when this all happened, it wasn't that I wasn't happy. I was ticked off. I was really ticked off. So I was like, how do I do this? And you know, I didn't have the physical capacity to endure this, but I made it happen. I didn't get anything done in the house. I didn't get a lot of gardening done in the greenhouse, and I could have if my greenhouse had not flooded. So he wanted to go out there. I said, "No, you will not go out there." "Well, I want to see." I said, "No, you did the damage." And I think he was really kind of doing a lot of nervous stuff, so I knew that he was a little scared. Now, I have talked to a couple of lawyers and to my city, and I told them the situation, and they gave me instructions on what I can do, and I have a lawyer at standby if I need to go further. But for right now, I said, okay, you know what I want to do? I want to give my heart a rest. I want to just take a moment and reflect and see what I can do. You gave me some things that I wanted to do, and you're saying it is legal for me to do. And I'll be sharing that. I don't know if I'll say anything about it today or not. Maybe I will. So I'm going to start there. Basically, I'm going to make a permaculture border around the 2 sides of the yard that I get lots of water coming in from both sides, but more so when he forced water into my yard. I'm still kind of baffled. But he turned it around saying, "Oh, we've been neighbors for a long time. I would hate to have this come between us." And I said, "You kind of did." And, you know, he just kind of kept twisting it. And if you know anything about narcissism, this is what they do, is they come across trying to be very nice. Then they start turning it around to be your fault. I said, "Don't you do that. This is not my fault. I have no handprints on that gutter at all. You're the one who did." And I said, "I have pictures to show what has gone on." I said, "You had an opportunity on Saturday to go over there." I said, "I came over very nicely, firmly, but nicely." He goes, "You were standoffish." I said, "Oh, I'm very sorry if I was standoffish, and the reason is I asked you how you guys were doing and you just said fine and walked away. I said fine and walked away because you decided that you weren't going to do anything. And even though he said, I told you I'd get to it, you want to know, he never got to it until not today, on Tuesday. That doesn't help when all of a sudden all this water is in here. So what I've tried to do, now God says, whatever you do to the least of these, you do to me. All right, so I used some poor language. I did that to God yesterday. That wasn't cool. I did some, I was angry at my neighbor. I feel justified. Could I have done it better? Possibly. Am I upset that I didn't? Let's just ask this question. Am I upset I stood up for myself? Not at all. Because during my life, I have had people step all over me and I'm done. So done, I can't stay it. David's like, you amaze me. No, I don't want to amaze my husband. Well, maybe. I don't want to amaze people. I want to inspire people to say, we do not have to take the abuse that's out there in this world. And over the last couple of years, it's gotten really, really bad. It's always been there, but it got exacerbated, okay? And so, but still, how do we move forward in treating others the way God wants us to treat others? Now, can I still do legal action? Yes, it's in my back pocket to move forward with that. And that's kind of why I have pictures. But what I'm going to do is what the lawyers told me, this is what you can do. And it's interesting. 2 different lawyers, they both told me the same thing. And I shared with each of them what I wanted to do. So, do I feel empowered? I do. More so because I stood up to a narcissist who was trying to maneuver his way around. Just because you've been my neighbor for over 30 years doesn't mean you have been neighborly. That doesn't constitute you being neighborly. And, I'm the type of person that I'm very sociable, but, I also don't like to take crap from people. So, you know what I do? I just work in my garden, I stay in my yard and all that. And there's some other things that I won't share here on camera because that would not be appropriate for this. I'm not going to do a public lynching. Those are things I have to address. And one of the other things was he was doing firecrackers last year, so I took the opportunity to say, and by the way, why are you doing firecrackers all summer last? I wasn't doing it all summer. I said, okay, once a week? I explained to him what it does to me and the health conditions that I have that it exacerbates, including Lyme disease. And he did not realize that. I didn't tell him all the things what it triggers, but at least Lyme disease and there's some other things. He goes, I didn't know that was happening. I said, you know what? If you were a true neighbor and we were friends like you're claiming, you might have known that. But you're not that. And I don't think we ever will be. Can we be neighborly? Absolutely. Can we be nice? Dave and I are always nice. But we do not go purposely to pretend to be friends because we're not pretentious people. What you see is what you get from me. And people don't like it. And it's because I'm so direct. My cousin told me, well, it's my husband's cousin, but it's kind of like cousins. She told me, Laura, you need a filter. I said, no. When somebody messes up, it's going to come right out because that's who I am. But the nice person in me will always be nice. So what am I going to do to offset this and honor God is, it doesn't mean I have to go over and be nice and buddy-buddy, but I am going to make a permaculture around the 2 fences. I will be filling in, and I sent a list out on Facebook this morning. I said, if any of you guys have this stuff, because it'll be extremely costly if I go out and buy stuff. And I don't know if I have it here. So what I titled it was Taking Action and Requesting Help. You see, a lot of times we think that nobody cares, nobody does anything. But you know something? Nobody can help you if they don't know you need help. So I said, so in order to maintain a positive outlook, consulting with a couple legal people and city personnel who shared what I could do, approving my ideas to protect our property. This is not to take revenge. This is to protect my property. The work will be done on our property and it will look really nice. I will be creating a barrier of sorts while using a permaculture method of gardening while also providing a lovely landscape within our property. I'll go into it a little bit. Today, the chickens have been employed to go through the leaves. I had bags of leaves that I raked up, and we get tons of leaves in our yard, spring and fall. So I went and I raked them. I had like 6 bags I was going to put by the side of the road, and I was talking to another person, said, why don't you just let that compost? And I usually do. She says, put it in with your chickens. They will scratch it up and it'll get done faster. So they have been employed. So about half a bag to 1 bag at a time is what they're getting, and of what I was going to put by the side of the road for pickup to create more compost material. I'm going to need that. Every few days they will get more until it is all worked down, where their evening treat of dried soldier fly larvae filled with protein will be delightfully consumed. They absolutely do. They love soldier fly larvae. I mean, they hear the bag and they're just out running. And sometimes to get them into the coop at night, I'll just bring it in and just put it in there, and it's gone. And I can go shut the door and they're fine. And then of course they love me. Now, if you have any of the following, I requested this from those who are on my Facebook friend list. I said, if you have any of the following items you are looking to get rid of. Now, I'm not asking anybody to go out and spend money for me. Not at all. I said, these are some of the things that we can use to create this mounded border in which I can also grow flowers, herbs, and produce, as well as grow additional floral trees such as bridal veil, forsythia, lilacs. I can do a lot of stuff. So that's what I want. I hope to propagate some growth, but if you're trimming things back, we might be interested in a few of your cuttings. You see, because somebody might have one tree that they cut back, and that might be all they have, and they end up throwing it into the bag of leaves. Well, that one cutting might be able to be used so that I can start another item that can go into the permaculture area that I'm trying to create. So I'm also looking for old bricks and rocks, as they will be used on the bottom to create some airflow, yet a firm foundation. Matthew 7 verses 24 through 27 talks about building your home on a firm foundation. He is talking about our spiritual home, but also you don't want to build things on sand. You want to have a firm foundation or things fall apart. So I'll be collecting rocks, big, small, I don't care. I'll be collecting bricks that are broken. So these things can go in there, and this is going to create a base. I was going to do a French, I forgot what it's called. What it is it drains the water out, a French drain. I was going to use that, but in doing so, I can't afford all the piping that I need. I need quite a bit. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to work on this permaculture thing. And the reason is the same thing that the individuals I spoke with, they said that will put the barrier up there. And you got to remember, when there's water in the earth, we get and I was walking in 5 to 6 inches out there, and then the mud got to be really bad. I'm so glad I have tall chicken boots there, so I was able to go out there and not feel bad. But I did get stuck a few times. I thought I was gonna lose my boot. So that's what I'm doing with that. Let me see. So they're going to create a firm foundation for me, and I'm just going to throw them in there. And of course there's some air in there, right? The next I'm going to be looking for is cement blocks for the back fence. Sometimes people move into places and they don't want the cement blocks. They're kind of like getting rid of this, what they call junk. It's a treasure for me. So if somebody's getting rid of it, that's fine. If not, that's something that I know where I want them to go, and it's just going to be going across one fence. And we're going to still make permaculture around it. So cement blocks for the back fence. I had a few I carried out to the fence. Yes, David saw me and made me stop because of my back. I have a lot of back issues. They not only help to support the fence, but it also stopped yesterday. I put them out there. I had 2 out there, and it actually, where it was just flowing in, it stopped it. Now where it's flowing in from, it's not that neighbor's fault because their yard is a little higher than ours, so of course it's going to come in. So I did that, and I'm like, oh, this works. And my husband didn't believe me. He's a doubting Thomas sometimes. So I brought him out there, and he goes, oh. So we're going to use that, but still use the permaculture. Let's see. Flat metal of sorts, such as metal, steel shelving. We used to use metal shelving, to store things like in the shop and stuff like that. But we're going to have to cut those down, so I'm only looking for like 10, 12 inch high that we will hammer into and around these areas to give it that base. Let's see, I just need to figure out how to cut it down. David said, I guess there's some metal scissors. That's going to be fun. I did order some raised bed type corrugated material for raised bed use. I'd like to use it for that, but if I have to, this is what I got to do. And so those will go in back of the rocks and the bricks. Again, for structure and support while we permaculture over. Okay, I'm talking permaculture. All right, so we have plenty of leaves. I'm going to let the, which, as mentioned, the chickens have been employed to help compost it. They're just going to break it down. And we're collecting our sticks, tree limbs, branches, and such for clean fill to provide a biodegradable source of material that will fill in between the leaves, limbs, leaves, pellets, etc. That we're going to be filling in with the other stuff. And what we're going to do, we finally got, my husband has been saving for this, it's a wood chipper, and I guess you can put leaves in it and stuff as well. So we're going to put the stuff in through that, what we've collected, because we get all kinds of branches. And so we're going to spread those out all along where I have the rocks and so forth. We have plenty of leaves, which, as mentioned, the chickens have been employed to compost for us. But because of the time frame, my husband might put that through the wood chipper. I didn't know they could go through. Go figure. See, there's something we all learn every now and then. Let me see. So I mentioned stick limbs, branches, and such for clean fill to provide a biodegradable source of material that we will fill in between the limbs. Oh, and also pallets and stuff too. After all this is in place, I will be creating the final layer with clean, non-contaminated soil, compost, etc. We have some, and I'm not sure if it's going to be enough for what we're doing, so I'll be kind of looking for that kind of stuff, but I might be able to get some in different places, so I'm going to be looking for that stuff. So even though I use a lot of that stuff for my pots of flowers and so forth and plantings and stuff, I may have to use it to get this all started. And let's see. So if one is cleaning things up and need to have stuff removed, I only have a car, so that I don't have a truck right now. I might be interested in that kind of stuff. So I mean, I don't want to be traveling all over New England, but if I can get some help, that would be great. Now, and we're going to be monitoring it because I don't want to end up with so much it doesn't work. Would I object to somebody driving over and bringing some? No, because I have a place where I'm going to put this stuff. And it'll be easy enough for drop-off when whatever. So the other thing that I listed was manpower. If you have a desire to help a neighbor, there are a few things that we will need help with. We are taking down a top of a fir tree, and that we will put through the chipper because the bottom branches we keep having to chop them down. So we're going to kind of bring that down, and we're going to do something with the tree. We're going to use it as a support for something else. We will be moving our coop to another area of the yard so that we can make the backyard more aesthetic, more appealing. We have another unit that is heavy that needs to be moved as well, and I'm going to help David because if I don't get help, that's what I have to do. You know, I mean, David and I are not young spring chickens, but it's just something that we need to do this because, first of all, we want to sell our house, but on the other hand, we might not be able to because of the way things are. Yeah, we could sell our house instantly, but we might not be able to find one that we're looking for, but we're looking for closer to his work. So you know what, we're hopeful, we trust in God, and he will work out the details. Let's see, okay, I realize it's a long post and some have fallen asleep and moved on, but on a positive note, I would like to share a few things. Instead of dwelling on the negative of the situation, I have chosen to continue moving forward. This will benefit us while we reside at our home, but also benefit a new homeowner when we decide to sell. So what we're doing will be very pleasing and very satisfying for us for the work we do. We're going to be tired this summer. So hopefully when we get a house, it won't need as much TLC as we're going to be putting into our backyard. And we've done a lot to the house, so hopefully the house we go to won't need so much. So anyways, so far with the work of the dehumidifier and sump pump, this is good news, our cellar remains dry. It just goes on when it needs to go on, and that is a good thing. And we have to, when bad things happen, we need to stop and say, what is the good that's coming out of this? And that's one of them. I have chickens too. And although I might not be able to wear finger jewelry, as my hands are going to be getting really, really dirty, I will be busy working, continuing to build up my body strength and getting fit. And with the Lyme disease and stuff, I really got out of shape. And then with the pandemic and so forth, I had no will. It was whatever. But I've been exercising again and doing other stuff. So this will also help too, because you're using every muscle in your body. Also, the other good news is I kept up with the siphoning of the water for 2 days straight. It was like 48 hours. I would go out there with the garden hose and I would put the garden hoses in 2 locations, and I had it rigged so it would go out the driveway. Because as I mentioned in another part, as the water fills up, we end up with this big pond. But as the top goes down, the other water starts to rise. And so my goal was to get it as dry as possible. And right now, I got home today. Actually, we woke up. I did not have to put it out there. And then I was gone today and I came back and we still don't need to. So I'm thanking God for no rain so far today. I'm thanking God that He gave me the thought process to what can I do? And so I said, how to remove water from your backyard. And siphoning came up. And so I saw how to do it. And I'm thinking, siphoning, you know how people used to siphon gas? I was like, I don't want to siphon dirty water. And then I learned how to do that. Hook it up to the spout, fill it up, because you have those things that turn it off. Go put it in your area and you're good to go. And 48 hours of drainage. So that is a good thing. So I am pleased I made the effort to focus on what I could do to make a difference. Now I appreciate, let's see. Now I thanked everybody for reading this. Honestly, we do not like asking for help. And sometimes we get mad at my husband and say, honey, we need help. I can't keep doing this for you. But, we've experienced that people don't always do that, but we're reaching out. We're going to learn to say, hey, I need help. If they say no, guess what? They said no. And we keep on going, and it's okay. I will do it. We don't like to help because we know that many people are busy with their lives, and I can do almost a lot of this on my own. It'll take longer, but I'll do what I can on my own. And with David's help, when he's not working, we will just get it done. But you know what? Basically, we need a village for this situation. Are we flooded out right now? No. And I'm sure a lot of people say, oh, that's no big deal. You're right. And I'm going to tell you, I'm 62, he's 65. We're tired. And doing all that, I was tired. But if I don't get help, I don't get help. And I'm not going to be mad at anybody. But I do have a friend who reached out. She's from my hometown, 2.5 hours away, that I can go down, and she has some things that I can use. But I don't have a truck. Otherwise, I would drive down there, fill the truck up with her rocks and stuff like that. I just don't have it. So what are we going to do? We're going to do our best with what we have. And one of the things that we're going to do is clean out our shed, and maybe we'll find some things that we don't want, and we'll just let it decompose out there, whatever. You see, I'm one of those people that don't like to, if there's stuff that can be used to build this and people aren't using it, I would rather take it and use it versus throwing it away. I don't know about you, but I think it's sensible because we throw so much junk away. And that's why I'm talking about biodegradable stuff. I'm saving boxes that are coming in that are kind of wimpy or something. Saving those, I'm going to cut them all down to about 12 inches wide, and I will use those as a base, whether, I don't know if I'm going to do it on top or not of the rocks. I think I'm going to put it as a base. We're going to dig down a little bit, put that down, and then start putting the rocks and bricks and stuff down. I know it's tedious. It took you a moment, maybe a few moments to listen to me. But if I don't do something, what's going to happen? Nothing. If I don't do something, what's going to happen? I'm going to be angry. But what if I do something? First of all, I'm physically going to be busy. I'm going to feel satisfied that I took the time to do this. There's something about self-will, the ability to do something, even when you hurt, to just do a little bit more and keep going. So I don't know where you are in your life journey. Right now I'm stuck here making sure our house does not get affected by water. But you know what? Our house did not get flooded. And I'm so thankful that these 2 units have not stopped working, because that would be devastating. And this is something we did not budget for. But there's a lot of things that happen we don't budget for, like a car breaking down or a water tank going, all these things that could happen to us. This is just one we didn't plan for. But the nice thing is, I'm really glad that my husband did save for the wood chipper. It's going to get a workout. And the nice thing is, it came in, he got it at a good price. He's been watching me and he learned. He says, he was telling me about one thing, and we can't pick it up because it won't fit in either of our car. So I said, well, look online, see who has it, free shipping or not, see what you're willing to pay. And there was a few places. We're staying out of the big box because they're more expensive. Folks, look around. And he found a place. On top of it, it was like $100 less than others. Then I got a discount. I think it was 10%, 10 or 20% off, because he sent it to me, and so I placed the order. And free shipping. Folks, there are ways to get deals for certain things. I'm not asking you to try to get a deal out of your small business person. I'm trying to say that products are made to make massive money. I mean, look at our drug situation for people who need medications. They're overpriced, and you have to work hard to find it at an appropriate price for your budget. And sometimes you don't qualify because you have insurance. But you can get things that you need at a discounted rate. But for us, we also find that it's important to save and then go shopping. And this is something I taught our girls is, as simple as one of them wanting a Barbie doll. She wanted one so bad. And, we were in a retailer and they had them and she really wanted it. And I said, honey, first of all, it's not on sale. And second of all, you haven't saved enough money. But she had a few dollars. So we later went over to the Dollar Tree. And when it was truly the Dollar Tree. And we went there and she saw one. She goes, Mom, can I get this? Can I get this? And I said, honey, that doll is going to break. She goes, no, I'll take good care of it. I said, it doesn't matter how well you take care of that doll will break. And so then I talked to David. I said, I think I'm going to let her get it. And he goes, why? I said, first of all, it has doll clothes on it. It was worth the $1 for that. And then I said, not only that, but it will teach her the lesson that when you buy cheap, cheap breaks. Now, I'm not a prude. I'm not saying that we should all go spend top dollar on stuff. What I'm saying is you need to shop around and be diligent to try to find quality at a fair price. And if you have to save, it's worth it. So, to finish that story, she got in the car and it broke. We weren't even out of the store for 5 minutes. All of a sudden, this screaming wail came from the back seat. And I said, what is going on? It broke. I said, honey, I told you it would. She goes, can I bring it back? I said, no. Now, could I have? Yeah. But you know what? We're all intelligent to know that those products, they're not made to last a lifetime. And I knew it would break. So I knew, intellectually, I knew it was going to break. I wanted to teach her a lesson. The lesson was, you get what you pay for. So let's save for that one that you want. She saved until she got the money of how much that doll had cost when she saw it last. When she went back, and she had been praying and stuff like that, and we went back, that doll was on sale. She ended up with some money left. Folks, sometimes when we save, we realize, and I know in this economy, it's like you save when you buy a second, and I will definitely agree with that. But because everything is going up so fast. But in something like this, when I was trying to teach her the value of money, that sometimes we have to wait. We don't buy on credit. We don't borrow from mom. We don't do that. What we do is we save, most especially if it's not a necessity. Now, the wood chipper, it's going to be a necessity, but we didn't know how much. until now. So see, God intervenes and he teaches us lessons, and he's always asking us to praise me in your storms. And it's hard. How did I praise God during Lyme? You don't want to know. How did I praise him in my childhood? I don't know. How did I praise him out there? I just, as I've grown in him, I have discovered that I keep reminding something good's going to come out of this, something good's going to come out of this, and something will. I have a lot of work in front of me to do. Folks, I hope that you stay tick-free. Bring a lint roller. I'm telling you, they work. There's other things that you can do too. And I just pray that many people don't get Lyme disease. And if you do get bit, go to the emergency room. They're geared to take care of you right away. And if they don't, go to another place until you get the doxy or whatever it is. And yeah, there are some herbals. I'm not going to sit here and go through them, because you know what? When you get bit by one, you want to take care of it now. Not yesterday, now. And sometimes they might say, see your doctor. Like if it's Sunday, call your doctor on Monday, and they should get you in. So, or sometimes they'll do telehealth. I'm all for seeing people thrive. God does too. So let's do for one another what God wants us to. Let's give and be kind. Folks, I hope you have a fabulous night, and may God bless you.